online facilitator for AFL1501. So last time we met, we discussed the assignment question, right? There were people things that we are clarifying with regards to assignments. Assignment, I think assignment 4. So I tried when I make the slides, like the today's presentation or today's session, to make it more relevant to assignment 4. So today's presentation is more about what is being asked on assignment 4. So I hope the last time we met and also today's presentation or today's session will help everyone to write their assignment and understand everything that is being asked from the assignment. So today's session, if I can just begin, just to recap, last time we met, we talked a lot about culture and what is culture. We did say that culture is integrated, culture is shared, and you will see that in the coming slides, you will see that really culture is shared. And also we did say that culture is learned. You do learn culture. We said beliefs are part of culture, language is part of culture, customs is part of culture, rituals. Even if you don't know that what you are doing is rituals, they are rituals. It's not only the African ceremonial rituals that are rituals. Rituals are rituals. Behavior, everyone have a behavior, faith or religion. Everyone have food, their favorite food. They have art, drama, music. They have their preferred music. Some like different types of music. There is attitude. So culture is being displayed or being shown through these key concepts that I've just said here. So last week we did say that culture is in belief, values, what you prefer, the tendencies, customs, behavior, tradition. We said beliefs transmitted through learning, culture is shared, it is symbolic. So when I look at the assignment question, task 1, it asks a question: what is your own understanding of culture? What does it mean to be cultural? So if you can see here, this young lady here pointing to this slide, meaning that if you understand this, then it will be very easy for everyone to answer this question. What is your own understanding of culture? I'm sure by now that everyone have an opinion about culture. They have, they know what it means to be cultural. They know what is culture, and now everyone knows that they do know what is their own culture. Okay, so all of these, everything here, attitude, belief, language, customs, rituals, behavior, faith, religion, food, art, drama, attitudes, are all examples of cultural elements. So if you have these, then you are cultural. What does it mean to be cultural? You are cultural because they are all elements of they are all examples of cultural elements. Are we all together? Hello?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very quiet. So sometimes I fear that I'm talking alone. So yeah, what is your own understanding of culture? What does it mean to be cultural? So based on what we did last week, uh, and also what we're going to do today, I'm sure everyone will be able to answer that question. So task one says that culture is an integral part of who we are and how we do things. Many people define culture differently. What is your own understanding of culture and what does it mean to be cultural? So now I'm sure that everyone can answer that question. Oh, this here, can everyone see this picture?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, okay,
Yes, we
yes.
can see it. Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, this here, this is a Rastafarian. This for me is a perfect example of what we said in the in these slides, that culture is integrated. Culture is not biological. Just because you are born this way does not mean that you cannot join a particular culture, or you cannot be a part of a culture. Culture is learned, culture is integrated, culture is shared. So for me, this shows that this is the perfect example of what we have been saying. For instance, if you notice, Rastafarian is mostly found in Colombia and in Italy, Ethiopia, but people from different nations, they join Rastafarian. People from Europe, they join Rastafarian. People from I haven't seen much of Asians, but people from South America, North America, and even African people, they join Rastafarian. So no one can say that no, this is not your culture. If you join this culture, you are part of a Rastafarian. So there's also this question still on task one. I think Jacques is going to help me here to give me, you know, to help us answer this question, and also to give us examples. It says that compare how your forefathers 100 years ago practiced certain aspects of culture to how we practice culture nowadays. By looking at the specific ceremony or event you will be discussing in task two, this must be done in terms of language and the way the forefathers used to speak compared to how we speak today. Has language and cultural ceremonies evolved? So, Jacques, can you help us here? Jacques?
I'm with regard to what, Timbela?
Okay. I don't know if you still remember last time we spoke with Adele. I don't know which part did she say that you might come in and just give us few examples.
I'll be with you in a second, Timbela. I just want to switch something off here.
Okay.
And Timbela, thank you so much. I'm back. It was very interesting when I looked at their task one, where they need to be able to kind of delve into their own culture, and not only culture in terms of what poses European type of question, maybe, but where you as where I'm, for example, as a colored person, had to really look into my culture and try to find out how forefathers or how tradition started. It's very difficult in a sense because about 3 years back, I would say, yes, it was 3 years back when I attended a Khoisan meeting. Now, my father's side is white and my mother's side's colored. So I attended a Khoisan meeting just to kind of try and collect agency. And I speak Afrikaans, I speak English, I studied languages at university, so I'm quite well versed in Afrikaans, English, German, Dutch, and French. But for me, it was difficult in order to find my colored roots in, I would say, in a level of coloredness. Because if you think about colored people in the Western Cape, we are not monolithic. You don't find any areas, the colors of areas to be the same. And I went to this meeting, it's a Khoisan meeting, and they started talking about animals, and I couldn't relate to what they were talking. And they stopped in the middle of a meeting and they asked me to get out. Because I was probably the most confused in the room, but I was asked to get out because I'm not Khoisan. So I think everyone is judging you through a European lens. For example, if you see a white person, you'd automatically think that that person would align to an apartheid ideology without even knowing the type of person that that person is. So in us trying to hold on to our culture, I think there's a lot of things at play. And I actually prepared a little presentation, but then I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to make it interesting because this is a semester module. They've got an assignment. So I asked one of my friends, it's a heritage activist in Cape Town, to do a Zoom presentation together. Then you can also attend to unpack Africanness when you look at or to unpack culture from a point of view where coloreds and white people are also kind of questioned their identity, so to speak. So I don't know how many of you are interested in attending that Zoom session on Monday, because this is a module that is going to take you to the end of the year in a portfolio. MJ Ma just say, yeah, AFL has made me realize I'm worthless. Not at all. I think it's just a thing about identity and agency and where we find ourselves, but everything will be resolved on Monday. Tambela, can I invite you also to attend that session on Monday?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Is anyone interested in kind of it's actually a dialogue between us as an AFL cohort and a heritage activist. Would you be interested in attending it via Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I will just send you the link through because in terms of food, for example, Tambela, and this is a very interesting point. In terms of food, you'll find that a lot of the food, in order to preserve well, they dried it. So biltong and rust and bokoms and all of those things are dried actually for longer preservation period. And that was something that I didn't, for example, know as part of food, part of our culture. So let us look at what the heritage activists will be telling us on our distinct heritage and how it linked to Africanism.
Okay.
Is there any one of you that can, for example, that delved into this task one way Kabela asked to compare? Any one of you unpack this? our forefathers used to speak and how we speak? Anyone from the floor? Zoe? No one. Tambela, was there a significant change in how your forefathers spoke and how you're speaking nowadays?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think because culture is not static. It's not something that is fixed and it can never change. Okay. So if you look at my culture, we have assimilated, not really assimilated, but we have include a lot of Christianity within our own culture. So, culture changes and the way we speak, even now, if you look at, let's say, for instance, you look at how people from the 1600s spoke English and how people today speak English, it's very different. It's very different. So language change. So language, I'm hearing myself. I don't know what's going on. So as I was saying that, language changes. People, okay. Can someone, whoever is speaking there, unmute their mic? Okay, yeah. As I was saying that, languages change, and even people, the way people do things change. The way people used to dress 100 years ago is not the same as how people today dress. So even our culture, everything changes. For instance, here, yeah, just to make an example, this is not really language, but this shows that how things change, how even culture, or how we do things change. It's not one thing. As time goes, there are new things added. And then today, when you look at the older days, it's completely different from what it is today, because there were new things added along the way, and then there are other things that were rejected because of time and change. For instance, when in my lecture, in my, I think, third year or second year, when I was doing isiXhosa in UWC, I learned that, in traditional ceremonies, the type of alcohol that is being used today, or even alcohol, was not the main thing in traditional ceremonies. Imicimbi, no, alcohol is something new. During the old days, the very important thing that the people used to use during traditional ceremonies, or when someone visits a family, or even royal houses. In a royal house, you will be given amasi, not alcohol. So amasi is milk coming from a cow, but now in stores people know it as sour milk, because cows were so important, and cows were source of wealth in the Xhosa people. So amasi were very important, more than anything when it comes to drinking. So if a visitor or someone special or someone important will come to your house, you will give them amasi. If you have umcimbi, it doesn't matter which one, instead of alcohol, you would give them, people would normally drink amasi. So for instance here, if you look at the first picture there, the first frame, in English that is called a calabash. In isiXhosa is iselwa. Very few people now still have that. people just go to the spaza shop and buy amasi from the spaza shop, which doesn't have this iselwa. So during the old days, people would put amasi inside of iselwa, and people would eat amasi, you know, umvubo from amasi contained on this iselwa. But as time go by, because there was also, I think, a disease that killed many cows in the Eastern Cape, but there was a shortage of cows, and then the importance of amasi was replaced by maize, you know, umbona, maize, and people use maize to do traditional beers, umqombothi, to do traditional beer. So if someone visits you, you prepare this traditional beer, umqombothi is there. You just give him a glass, or if it is a ceremony, a traditional ceremony, you give them umqombothi. You use umqombothi to many traditional ceremonies. So, but at first it wasn't umqombothi, it was amasi. But because time changed and things change, now people use umqombothi in almost in everything. Umqombothi has to be there. The traditional beer, umqombothi, and then ujabulani and ivanya, but the others are less important than umqombothi. Umqombothi has to be there. You see, this is ibhekile. I don't know what's called in English, ibhekile. But you know, as time goes, then you start seeing a lot of whiskey. You know, Viceroy and Commando. Viceroy, Commando, and Smirnoff. Smirnoff they usually use in traditional healers. Traditional healers in their ceremonies they usually use Smirnoff, but the red ones they called red brandies. Viceroy and Commando. In almost every traditional ceremony, you will always find Viceroy and Commando. It is almost as if a traditional ceremony is not a traditional ceremony without Viceroy and Commando, without these brandies. So even when a boy went to Entabeni and then he comes back, they make umqombothi, you will always see this Viceroy and Commando, the red brandies. They are called red brandies, mostly Viceroy and Commando. That's the current situation now. Viceroy is always there. Commando is always there. But now I'm starting to see in now our days, today, I'm starting to see that there's something that is being added called punch. Do we know punch? Guys, this is something that I know alone.
What is that, Tembela?
Punch. There's something called punch. Put fruit.
Oh, a fruit punch.
Yeah, fruit punch.
Yes, we're familiar with that.
Yeah, do you know that? Yes, you see now I'm starting to notice that that is being added to what to this culture of using Viceroy and umqombothi. See now people just do that fruit punch. I don't know, I think it was last year where there was a guy who trended because he was so drunk in a traditional ceremony, because the guy called Noma Helele trended the whole country that year, I think the whole year, because he was so drunk he couldn't move. When asked from Umhlobo FM, what did he drink? He said he drank punch. So in that punch, you put fruit, you put alcohol, you mix. So now today, I'm starting to notice that, you know, punch is being added now. Less of umqombothi, but more of, you know, this modern drinks. You see. So here I might not, I took one aspect of culture, but not specifically language. But I took, the one important thing, also the very important thing, which is utshwala, alcohol in a traditional ceremony. So you can see now what was very important during the old days is not the same as now. If today you come to a traditional ceremony and I give you amasi, I would call you mad, because what am I gonna do? I'm not hungry. I don't want amasi. Amasi now for today is only used for cooking and eating a umvu. You see, not in a traditional ceremony. But today, in a traditional ceremony, I would not even mind if you don't give me umqombothi, but you give me a viceroy and this punch. You see. So I hope we all understand and get that example.
Tembela, based
Yeah.
on the language, can I make example of my elders, like in the colored community?
Yes, please
So
do.
they first, like my elders' first language was Afrikaans, but nowadays, like the first language is English, like in the new generation.
Yes. That's also, yeah. You see, even now, if you look at in our homes, my father he didn't went to these schools, these Cape Town schools. I also did not go to modern schools. My father got education from Bantu education. You see, so the way maybe for instance in English, the way he would speak English will not be the same as how I speak English. Even though I did not go to modern school, but my children, many parents now they take their children to private schools, modern schools, and then they integrate with other cultures. They speak English like how white kids speak English. You see now, so there is this difference. So if we are at home, I speak English the way I talk, but my child will speak English completely different from my father. You see, so yeah, that is also a good example that you gave there. Is there anyone else who want to make an example from their personal experience? Hello.
Tembela, we've got Zoe Sarah that wants to add. Zoe. Zoe, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone. Let me quickly get my words together. Now that you said all of these examples, would it be an example, for example, how my granny's mom, how she used to cook versus how we cook now? Could we use that as an example?
In the essay, you can use that example, but I'm not sure of using that example in the essay, because in the essay it is specific. Yeah, in the essay it is specific to language. So it says has language, and by looking at the specific ceremony or event you will be discussing in task 2, this must be done in terms of language and the way the forefathers used to speak compared to how we speak today. As language and cultural ceremonies evolve over time. So you can make an example of language specifically and then cultural ceremonies. For instance, the way I did with alcohol, because that is part of a ceremony. And then language, how we speak, how you speak, the old English or the Afrikaans, the old Afrikaans way of speaking. I'm sure it is completely different from today. Or you see, even in I think in every language is evolved. For instance, toi toi. protest. Toy toy is something new. The word in isiXhosa toy toy is new. It was never there because there were no protests in the back in the days because of new things. Also the language evolved, and then you get new words to new things that are invented. You see, so language evolves.
Yeah. So can we also take into account so like different words? So we can use like words and phrases that our family used, but it's the meaning has changed over the years.
Yes, like definitely. That is language. That is language.
Brilliant.
Things change.
Okay, cool. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
And then Bella, I just want to ask, in slang language, can we also make an example of that? Like slang.
Yeah, that is language, and it has changed. Do you think maybe in 1566 there was slang language?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, things changed. I think slang is a new thing. I'm not sure. I can be wrong, but in my opinion, I think slang is a language that developed out of urban communities in our township, in our cave flats. I think that's just my opinion. Okay, it says there in task 1. Here are some suggestions for you. However, you can use examples from your own experience. The practice of lobola, bride negotiations, engagement, parental involvement, arranged marriages, and rituals. For example, the purpose of carrying a bucket of flowers 100 years ago and now. You see, I want to ask this: Has that changed? Particularly the flowers 100 years ago and today. What are the changes? Guys, is there anyone who notices changes in a white wedding?
Can I add by examples Labola, for example? They do now
Yes.
transfers the money. And back in the day they went with cows or money in an envelope to negotiate, but nowadays they just transfer the money into that person's account by the Labola.
Yes. Exactly. Cows. You just give cows for a lobola. And then, people now in our days, they say, what am I going to do with cows? I live in Cape Town. I live there. I just want money. And then people start wanting money. And during this lockdown, it was so interesting. During this lockdown, lobola negotiations, we have to be there. There have to be all those kind of steps that you take before you enter the yard of the girl. You have to greet and you have to ask to get inside. You have to take a cow. There's always a brandy for that. It's called all there's names for these things. Before you could talk, you ask him more. Before you do this, there's always those steps. But during this lockdown, there was even a Zoom lobola negotiation. You see, so that was interesting for me because it's a new thing. Imagine people negotiating lobola through Zoom. It's just a different thing. Is there any other, examples that anyone can think of? Things were done differently, but today are done in a different way. Any other examples you can think of?
Bella, I would like to add also by the parental involvement. Nowadays, like in our colored culture, you don't go and ask for blessings anymore. You just get married.
Okay,
So
if maybe your
that's one
parents,
example. Yeah. Like
maybe your
involve your
parents are like,
parents for a blessing or so.
Okay.
You just go and
Okay.
get married.
You don't need their blessing.
Yes, like nowadays the weddings is like happening like that. You just go and get married and just invite your parents or tell them you're gonna get married.
Okay, I get you. I get you. Yeah, there's even people now when it comes to lobola who are, they want to change few things because other ladies now in my culture they say that if I want to get married with this guy is still studying. He doesn't have money to pay all the lobola and everything, but as a girl I'm working. So now I can't get married with the love of my life because of this lobola thing. You know, people are starting to question even the lobola in these days. So yeah, that's one of the things that is changing. Okay, we are still on task one. We are still on task one. Do you consider yourself to be cultural? Do you follow a specific South African culture? Do you believe religion impacts your cultural practices? So can I just get, yes or no answer from the first one? Do you consider yourself to be cultural?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either.
Okay, why?
Reason for me, like being colored, you don't know like which culture to follow or like beliefs, so you don't know what to follow. So you just go with the flow. Like for me personally.
Okay, and why the other one says no?
Well, I don't really have, I mean, what is my culture? Do I believe, I didn't grow up with any specific religion, and I'm white, so I don't have any African culture. So I'm really battling to figure out what my culture is. I don't think I have a culture.
Okay, okay, I get your reason. Uh, there's also this notion outside there that culture to have a culture, culture is more associated with African culture. There is also that. I think it's also one of the things that makes people believe that they they don't have a culture, and others think that they are not cultural because culture has been associated a lot with African culture, as if when you have an African culture, that's only the time when you are cultural. Do you follow a specific?
Tembela,
Yeah.
Tembela, can you ask a question quickly? Based on being cultural, like with the Easter Mondays, then we have fish. So
Hmm.
is that like following a culture?
Yes, that is following a culture.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Do you
Um,
believe religion? Okay.
can I also ask, every Christmas and so Christmas and Easter, our, us as a family, we get together, and Easter time we normally have a bra, and then when it comes to Christmas, on Christmas Day we have a big Sunday lunch. Would that be considered a part of my culture, or more of a practice?
Okay, I get your question. If you can go back, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we did say that food forms part of culture,
Mm.
behavior, rituals, customs, language, beliefs, attitude. All of these they form part of culture. Culture,
Mm.
you know. So what the example you just made now of food or faith because on Christmas, meaning now you believe on Christmas. So food, beliefs, language, customs. So that is culture.
Okay.
It's just that the thing, yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily, because the thing is, for me, we have lots of traditions and lots of attitudes that we sort of, and behaviors we follow as a family, and values we stand by. I don't really have a name for my culture. I just know this is how I've always lived, you know. So I you know, it is a bit of a struggle to sort of put a name on it. But for me, because the thing is, like, sorry, I don't know who made the example, but we don't necessarily.
Alverna, her name is Alverna.
Alvin, I'm sorry, but you know, like, yeah, like I'm white and English and come from South Africa, but I follow some things like Christian. I'm Christian and I go to church, and you know, we live up to certain values that our family stands by. So I can't really have a name for that, but that's what I stand by. Can I incorporate that into my assignment like that, or does it necessarily have to have a name?
To give a name to your culture, I would say it's a Western culture.
Okay.
It's a Western culture. Look, for instance, I'm Xhosa, ne?
Yes. Yes.
But people will say African culture, African culture, African culture. But I know that I'm doing a very small thing. You know, when you say African culture, that is not all me, because I'm Xhosa. I only practice a specific thing out of what is called African culture. You see? So I would say that maybe it's a Western culture or European culture, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you practice everything that is Western culture or that is European culture.
Yeah.
There is a specific and particular way of which you practice your own culture.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit of Western culture mixed with a little bit of South African, because
South African culture.
You know, yeah, because we still braai and we, you know, have get-togethers with our neighbors and friends. So yeah, can I say it's like a bit of a combination of Western and South African?
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant.
It's a combination of both.
Tembela,
yeah.
I see that you also mentioned art, drama, and music. So, like our colored people, most of the colored people listen to African music, mostly. So, can I also like add that in my essay? Like, I follow maybe like African music as in culture.
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay.
Remember, we also said there are also, you know, values where you have your preferences and tendencies. When you say food, we're not judging which food. It can be sushi. It forms part of your culture. It can be braai. It forms part of your culture. We don't have to question where it's from or which kind of food do you eat, but it's part of culture. You see? So even music, drama, art, I'm Xhosa, but I like rock music. Not the rock and roll one, but rock music. I like R&B, like your Celine Dion. And my favorite artist is Randy Trafford. I have the whole album of Randy Trafford. I like Randy Trafford. So Randy Trafford is from America. Celine Dion, America. But that doesn't change who I am. I still have a culture. You see? So where was I? Okay, do you follow a specific SA culture? Do you believe religion impacts your cultural practices? So that's the question, guys. Do you believe religion impacts your cultural practices?
May I take it back? May I ask something, Tembela?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you to the previous question, which is referring to a specific culture that you follow, South African. I am African. I am Zimbabwean. saying African culture, will that be enough to say I follow African culture because I don't have a specific one, which is South African, although I am African. We may have similarities with certain rituals and certain ways with other indigenous South Africans, but it's not exactly the same.
Yes,
So
you can say,
would it be?
yeah, you can say that you practice African culture, and then you will be specific when it comes to ritual. That's when you get specific.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this is this kind of ritual. This is a lobola. I wear this dress at a wedding, or you see, you can say African culture.
Okay.
Of course, you won't just say African culture and keep quiet. You will have to explain.
Mm-hmm.
You see.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you can say African culture. Remember that, you know, you say African culture, but there's an African language which you speak. There's beliefs, there's rituals, there's behavior, there's faith, religion. You know, Muslim, Christianity, and African ancestry, they are all part of Africa, African culture as well. There's food, there's drama, there's attitude. That's where I think you will be, specific when it comes to food. You say African culture, food. You mention the food. This is just making an example.
Oh, I see. So it can be a way of maybe comparing my culture with the local culture. Say,
Sorry?
can I compare what I do in my Shona culture to what I see being done in the culture of the local South Africans in terms of relating to South Africa?
Okay, I do. Maybe this is me. I believe that there are Shona people in South Africa. Are they not?
Yes, I am in South Africa.
In Limpopo. Yeah, like in Limpopo, don't you have Shona people in Limpopo?
No, I don't
Who
think
speak
so.
Venda and Shona?
I think Venda is.
I know that there's Xhosa people in Zimbabwe.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I know there's Xhosa people in Zimbabwe who practice Xhosa in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Tembela, can I ask you a question, please? Based on this
Yeah.
essay, can I maybe use Khoisan as my culture because that is my forefathers, and like there's nothing cultural about being colored. So can I maybe use the Khoisan culture in my essay?
You can use the example of Khoisan culture, but also remember that the essay asks you to take a picture, and all of those, and explain what does this mean. So if you do have a picture of yourself, maybe in a Khoisan attire, maybe it will make things easier for you. But maybe if you don't have an attire where you wore, a Khoisan attire, then I think it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
If I can add something to that, I don't know how many of the students attended the lecture that Dr. Nene had on Monday. In the lecture he spoke about how you can also make use of cultural practices from your religion in your essay if you want to. And he also said that the whatever you use doesn't specifically have to relate to the African context for the module. As long as you can explain and answer the questions, he said it should be fine. And there is a recording if anyone wants to go and watch it again.
Okay, that helps. No? So, do you believe religion impacts your cultural practices? Does religion impact cultural practices? Or does
Yes.
religion have anything to do with culture in your culture?
Yes, can I just say, I think religion, I'll speak from my own experiences as a Christian. When I converted to Christianity as a religion and I decided to follow Christ, everything now has to do with what the Word of God says. So everything that we used to do, everything that we used to practice, if it's not in line with what the Word of God says, I have abandoned. Then I can just give an example of a small thing like before I was a committed Christian, we used to just, when we get food, you'd just clap your hands to show appreciation, then you start eating. But now it's very important that you pray before you start eating. So it's more about thanksgiving to God before we start eating, and then we eat. So that has changed. It's now like a ritual that the moment you get food in the house, even the children, they know you don't just eat. We first pray and then you eat. So in that way, religion is sort of molded culture.
Yeah, that's good example.
Yes, I agree with you.
That is good example. Which practices specifically in your culture do you still follow? Okay, then you have to be specific about your culture there in this question. Okay, these two pictures are just to show that anyone can be part of whatever culture. Anyone can assimilate. Anyone can be English and be black person and be English and practice English culture. This is similar. This is similar to that Rastafarian. This Rastafarian picture. Doesn't matter where you were born, but culture is learned. Culture is not biological. Okay, task 2. It says take a picture. Use your imagination. Take a picture or photo of yourself in any South African ceremonial or cultural outfit. Add the picture right below the heading task 2. Take note, you will not get any marks for the photo. However, you will need to add it in so that we can see the context of your information which will follow. We would like you to use your imagination. Any ceremonial outfit can include anything from your dress code, clothes, face paint, hats. An example, going to a soccer or rugby match, or what you would wear to a wedding or funeral. If in your culture, traditional sports such as stick fighting is practiced, then use this ceremony and cultural event. Just remember, it must be a ceremony which you attended and has personal significance to you. You see, I want you to look at this picture. This one, this guy here in stadium. You see, as you know, some has said that they don't have a culture, but many people who went to a stadium, they would not realize that this is a ceremony, because even here it says that a rugby match, going to a soccer or rugby match as an example. So yeah, for this guy, maybe if this guy was doing an essay here, he would just put this picture and explain, put this picture and do the assignment. What was the significance of him wearing this? What does these colors mean and everything? So going to a soccer or rugby match in South Africa, you know, it is part of our culture to braai after the match. It is part of our South African culture, you know, to carry vuvuzela on the stadium. It is specific to us. You know, we have omakaraba. If you're going to a soccer match, then you wear omakaraba. Maybe you went to a cricket match where you carry your cooler box and you know, carry your 6 and your 4s. Going to a soccer match is part of the example, or a rugby match is part of the example. This picture shows that, or what you would wear to a wedding. I think I've used a lot of wedding or funeral or traditional sport like stick fighting. For those maybe who have went to stick fighting, can post their pictures. Yeah, it is part of my culture, the stick fighting, but not for me. I don't do it. So for me, stick fighting is not good for me. So anyone who have a traditional sport like stick fighting can put their picture on stick fighting and explain and write an assignment about stick fighting. This is just to give an example that, you know, everyone have attended a ceremony and have a picture of that ceremony. To which culture does the outfit belong? Those are part of the questions we'll answer. No, I was in the stadium here, Cape Town City in Cape Town. Cape Town City was playing against Kaizer Chiefs, or I was in Cape Town Stadium in Greenpoint Stadium where New Zealand was playing against Amabokoboko. Okay, to which culture does the outfit belongs to? No, this outfit it belongs to the South African rugby culture, whereas where we wear our t-shirts and go watch Springbok and shout "Go Bokke," what does it signify? To which culture does the outfit belong? What does it signify? It signifies our support for our rugby national team. It signifies support and love of my Kaizer Chiefs. Tell us about the colors. You know, South Africa has a very colorful flag. You know, at the background there is my South African flag. The green stands for the grass, the pasture, the red for blah, 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 blah. The blue stands for the sky, the white stands for this, the yellow stands for that, the black stands for this and that. Then you explain your colors. I don't know, these guys who are in stick fighting, they will explain their own colors also. Here, if you see these guys, they will tell you the yellow stands for this. Maybe they'll tell you about their heads. They're black and yellow. Yeah, black stands for this, yellow stands for that. If it is a funeral, you know, people always wear black. There's a significance, there's a story behind black. You are mourning, you are that. Tell us about the color, heads, symbols. Would you dress in that outfit on daily basis given a chance? That is a good question. Would you dress in that outfit? Would you dress in that outfit on a daily basis given a chance? Is there anything that they can? No, I don't think. You know, is there anyone who think that they can dress in the outfit, in their ceremonial outfit, or in the picture now they're thinking of putting in the assignment on a daily basis?
No ways.
I also don't think so.
Just use it for like
Because
that specific event.
let's say for me, I also don't think so. Let's say for this guy, he's not wearing anything. He's naked during winter. No, there's no way. He have to wear something. So he can't wear even these guys, they're naked. So they have to wear something. So on a daily basis, no, because of many things. Maybe weather, maybe the events you are attending. You can't wear shorts. You can't come naked at a funeral. There's something wrong. That shows disrespect. You can't wear shorts in a funeral. Okay. Would you dress in that outfit on a daily basis given a chance? No. Yes. Why or why not? I think we have
For me,
to explain them. Sorry?
Tembela, for me personally, I will wear every Friday like a South African t-shirt. Casual Friday. Like I will
Casual
wear,
Friday.
yeah.
You would
I
wear it
will wear
every
like
day.
a South African t-shirt. Sorry?
Not every day, but just Fridays.
Not if, yes, like casual Friday or so. I will wear South
Okay.
African t-shirt.
Okay, that makes
I was
sense.
just also thinking about, the Zulu outfits with the little skirts, the red and
Mm,
black skirts. They're really short, and sometimes they show the back, and like
mm,
your butt is out. And then I was just thinking, in a ceremonial, when they have like a ritual or something, it's acceptable. And no one looks at you like you are revealing or anything. But the
mm.
moment you wear a skirt that short, walking around, and then all of a sudden you are all, revealing why your legs out and all that. So yeah, I don't think it would be a good idea to like wear those out every day.
Every day. Yeah, you see, yeah. And also the example you just gave in, so is also relevant to the changes that happened during culture. Because in the older days, even in now in Swaziland, you can just be there are in that ceremony where there is a king Swati. I don't know what's that called, but girls, a lot of girls would carry something called amasundu, uh, and then a lot of them they go to the king. I don't know what happens. Maybe the king chooses a wife there, but they are naked, like there's no bra, there's nothing covering, the breast. Even in our culture, like in our Xhosa culture, a child or a teenager would wear just something to cover. Isisutu is very short, but on the upper side, there's nothing covering. And then no one sees anything wrong, and no one judges you anything. Everything is just normal. But if you look today, you wear only something that covers your private part and then walk on the street with your breast. Hey, that is problem. It's problem. See, so things change. There's
Tembela.
awkwardness around many things now. Hello.
Hello, Tembela. It's Adele.
Hello, Adele.
Sorry to interrupt. It's lovely listening to the session. I just want to know, the students, how do you feel? Are you closer to getting some solutions to this assignment? Do you have better clarity at this point? Oh,
I think I do, because when I did my research, I found that religion and culture are usually inseparable. So, yeah, with that being said, like going through this, and also I've been getting some emails about the rubric and everything. So I think with following that, for me, um, I'm pretty sure I'll do okay. I'll be okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Lisha, are you feeling better at this stage? I don't think this is a simple assignment. I must honestly tell you, it takes some thinking about things that we haven't thought about in a long time, and that is exactly that's the reason why you're studying, to be challenged with stuff that you never think about. That's exactly what studying is about, and that is what makes it exciting. But I just want to know if you are feeling you're a little bit closer to getting a grip on some of these questions in this assignment. I see there's a next assignment out as well. I don't know. I missed Jack's input in the beginning, but we're trying to get you to have an edge on getting good marks for the assignment. So I think, Tembela, you've done very well in explaining this whole culture thing, because I was wondering what many of the white students are thinking in terms of culture. Are you thinking? I read the posts of last week, and they are really posts that I enjoyed. You know, when we have an African student trying to get a white student to make unravel what her culture is, then I really think it's beautiful, and this is exactly what the subject is about. And I very often hear, you know, that the English-speaking white students say, this is such a difficult module, and it's a hard language. And yeah, you know, maybe it's a good thing that we are challenged with that. If you think that very often African language speakers are forced to do everything in English, and that's not their first language. So, you know, it is challenging. And I think this is a beautiful opportunity just to become aware of how different we are, but how similar we are. And that's also very necessary. Yes.
The thing is, I mean, I would love to be able to choose a culture to do, but the thing is, it's very difficult if I get told, okay, it must be my culture, I must dress up. I mean, I've got my forefathers are, I mean, probably in Scotland, some of them, and others. I mean, I don't even know. I'd have to actually have a DNA test to figure out. I know somewhere along the line there's Malay blood. I mean, I don't know what I am. I didn't grow up with a religion. I didn't grow up with any culture. So if I could, I mean, I could do Scottish culture, but then I'm going to be in trouble because it's not related to African culture. I can't, if I speak about my forefathers, I can't speak about African forefathers unless I lie. So I'm finding it really difficult, because if you had to say to me, okay, learn about an African culture and then speak about that African culture, that would be fantastic. Then I could research an African culture, and then I would really learn something. But I'm not learning anything about myself other than that I'm very European, but I have a South African passport, so I'm just as South African as anybody else, but I have no culture, and that's depressing.
Remember, in education, and especially in higher education, I always caution students, keep it simple, don't complicate it. And I think that's what Tembela has managed to do here. Don't worry about trying to tell them what your culture is. Those questions are quite broad. You don't have to answer those questions with, this is my culture. When you take a picture of yourself, you know, you can put more than one dookie on your head, and you can represent a culture that you choose to talk about. And but when you say what you've just said,
if I suddenly decide, okay, I'm going to wear Xhosa clothes and I'm going to represent that culture, isn't that also like a bit, I mean, can I just represent anybody's culture just because I've decided like I'd like to learn more about that culture? It's a bit of a difficult one.
No, you can do that. If you look at the questions, it says, take a picture of yourself in whatever. Now, the easiest thing there to do is, although it's not part of your culture, you can say, this is part of the South African culture. I don't necessarily agree with this, but I mean, Tembela mentioned, what do the people do after a rugby day? They braai.
And also, I think they mentioned weddings and funerals. Those are like stuff that we, even with any other culture, you can attend. Like weddings, you can talk about. You've been to a wedding. You can talk about the bride. Why does she have the bouquet? Why does she have the veil on? All that.
Yes, Miss Mar,
must I put a wedding dress on? Because I'm really trying to understand. Like myself in this, and where I fit in.
Remember, keep it simple. I saw that somebody told you are worthless at this point with your seeking for your culture, but I mean, you are one of the students that really caused me some good chuckles last week when I read through the posts. Don't overcomplicate this. Use somebody else's culture if you are, look, you have to do this assignment. Get through it. You're not going to lie. You are going to say, I chose this culture, and now you're there, your higher education, and you said, I chose this culture because I wanted to research it, and this is how I represent it. And all you can do is get isiXhosa female to help you drape your headgear, and just have fun with it, you know. Take a picture of yourself.
Well, that's extremely helpful, because if we don't have to use our own cultures, then that's great. Then that clarifies it completely for me. So thank you. That's great.
Yeah, no, use in your, and this is what's nice about it. In your reply, you say, I wanted to research this because I don't feel for the braaiing culture, you know, but you can also put a Springbok peak on your head and say, this is part of, I don't agree with it necessarily, I don't enjoy it necessarily, but this is part of the Afrikaner culture. But I think what they're trying to get here is we are all Africans. And very often when we hear the word African, we only think of African people. But maybe it's also time, you know, Tembela, that Mbeki's I am an African. Have you listened to that speech yet?
Yes, I have.
Absolutely beautiful. And you decide where you fit in this African. Remember, this is through an African lens. And we all live in Africa. Some cultures are more rich than ours, yes. But if you've been to an Indian wedding or celebration where people all eat with their hands, I mean, that's another experience that some of us don't know, you know. You can write about that. You can write about the significance of that. What does it mean? So I think this is now very nicely unpacked. Now it's time to grapple with how will you attempt answering those questions. And are you attending the Monday evening session that Jacques spoke about? Did he tell you about it? Students?
Yes, he did tell us.
Okay. But keep it simple. If you want to choose a different kind of culture, if you look at this picture on the screen at the moment, I mean, what are you seeing, you know? And if that bride chose to have proteas in her hand, what would that have meant? You know, there are thousands of examples that you can really get into here. But I think what the lecturers are waiting for is a little bit of creativity around this, a little bit of engagement, a little bit of comment on what, like you, Ms. Mara, say this was an extremely difficult assignment for me because this is what I battled with very shortly, and therefore I've chosen this culture in this picture or whatever. Don't overcomplicate it. Your writing ability here is going to pull you through, and how you thought about it. Okay, Tembela, I'm sorry that I interrupted you. I just thought I like what is happening in these sessions. This is not easy stuff, because some people, there are colored people that do not feel that the minstrel's part of their culture. And that's your right not to feel that it's not part of your culture. You know, sometimes we take a brush and we say, this is everybody's culture. And then the moment you say, but it's not part of my culture, then you are looked upon in a very strange way. But there are many things in my culture that I'm saying, who said it's part of my culture? It's not part of my personal culture. So, Ms. Ma, be brave, you know. It's part of the Afrikaans culture to go to the same church for 700 years than your parents and your grandparents went to. No, it's not part of my culture. So you know, be brave as well. Okay, any other questions before I leave you?
Just one question quickly. The
Yes.
indigenous knowledge system at the end, is it part? It's part of the conclusion, right? I'm just scared that it might seem like I'm introducing new stuff at the end.
Ask Tembela, he's an expert in writing.
Okay.
Tembela, will you just address that with the class as well? Tembela, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Just give him a moment to have a look at it.
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, you know, with the task 3 is the conclusion, right? So I feel like including the IKS thingy at the end, I don't know, if it seems like after writing everything, it seems like I'm introducing new stuff in the conclusion. So I don't know how to incorporate all that information, some of the information that I read there, with my assignment. Do you have any suggestions? I don't know if you like understand where I'm going with this though.
Okay.
Can I just Tembela?
Hello.
You want me to speak, or are you going to say?
Yes, please speak.
Yes, but Lisa, I think what you know, conclusion is usually a summary, if you can remember, of everything that you said on top. However, they ask you to contextualize it in the conclusion part. So you're going to make use of cohesive devices or signposts. And you're going to say, in conclusion, as derived from the indigenous knowledge systems, one can conclude that this. So it's still a conclusion, but it's really recontextualizing what you said above and link it to that theory. But if you want us on Monday evening, if you're still not clear, you can send it through to me or to Tembela, and we can just have a glance at it.
Jock, at this point, I would also like to encourage, this is the kind of one-on-one sessions that you will also benefit from having with Tembela, because sometimes it is a recurring challenge that one experiences. And if you have a one-on-one session or a one-on-one engagement, sometimes it's just that light bulb moment for you. So I want the student that's just asked about that, I would like to encourage you to also consider having a one-on-one session to discuss that with Tembela.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure I'll find a way.
Okay. Now you can tell them how you want them to make contact with you, request the one-on-one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Tembela, are you there?
Hello.
Are you there? You can go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Will you tell them how to
done.
make contact regarding one-on-one sessions?
Did you finish that form you said you were gonna send?
I sent all facilitators an email.
Okay.
So you can read that. You can read that tonight. And what I will do is I will copy and paste all these student numbers for you, and then you can send them a message as to how they can make contact with you for one-on-one sessions. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. That will be helpful. Okay.
Thanks, Tembela.
So I was here talking about task 2. Thank you, Adele. Task 2 what happened at the cultural ceremony event where you wear that outfit. You are still explaining that picture which you put there, or that image which you put there. For instance, this guy will tell you that in KwaZulu-Natal, there's a ceremony where you have to wrestle a bull. We'll explain it. In India, you will tell what were you doing there, what happened, what was happening, or what was happening to these guys. What did you learn in terms of yourself? Okay, firstly, explain why the cultural event is important to you. If, let's say, for instance, it was a cultural event in the Eastern Cape or in my Xhosa, I will say no, it's because it's a transition from boy to man, so it was significant in that way. Or it was the World Cup. The World Cup means everything to me because this happened, this and that. You explain the importance and the significance of that cultural event. What did you learn in terms of yourself? Who are you? And your culture in social group when you attended? I think there's a lot which some people can learn from this assignment and these two sessions that we have had. Okay, the picture here is the La Tomatina in Spain. It's a tomato festival, La Tomatina in Spain. I think there's a lot which people can learn from here, because I've been trying to, get people to understand that culture is not a static thing. It is learned. You can join a particular culture. It is integrated. All of the things that I've been trying to emphasize, even by these pictures. They're trying to tell you that you can decide that what, I'm following this one. I'm joining Rastafarian. Then Rastafarian, no one will tell you that it is not your culture. It will be your culture. It doesn't matter which family you are from or what happened. It is your preferences. It is what you prefer. It is what you enjoy. It is what you have decided to join or do. The food you decided to eat. If you don't want to eat meat, you want to join Rastafarian, then that is your culture. So I believe that there's a lot that can be learned from this essay and then from these two sessions that we have had. Explain what the cultural event is important to you. What did you learn in terms of yourself? Who are you? And your culture or social group when you attended. Task 3, discuss one aspect that you learned from this assignment. They have to be, they have to be at least one, just one. Not everything, but just one. So there's this guy telling you just one. For instance, here you see this guy is white. This girl, I assume she's a Xhosa because the drawings and the wearing and what she's wearing and the art here is a Xhosa art. But for some reason, for these two, that is their culture now. That is what they did. You see, they did the white wedding in a Xhosa way. Because the dressing is, you see many people who do wearing these types of designs during Heritage Month. So yeah, also this picture tries to tell that you can, anything that you do that you preferred, that is your culture now. It doesn't have to, your race doesn't define your culture. A lot of things added together forms part of your culture. Okay. Discuss one aspect that you learn from this assignment about your chosen cultural ceremony or event. So if this guy or if these people choose this ceremony, this wedding, there's a lot you can discuss here. Doing a white wedding with Xhosa elements. And include indigenous, this is a conclusion, include indigenous knowledge systems in relation to your previous understanding. Okay, this is conclusion. This is where Jacques says that in conclusion, you summarize. So you're not adding new things, but you are just summarizing something. Here, I believe you should read Indigenous Knowledge System by Noyo. So you have to read this one and then try to, summarize it and contextualize it based on what is being said by Noyo in this article written in 2007. What does he say there? So you will use maybe, for instance, examples in your essay where you talk about the picture, the color, the everything. So indigenous knowledge system, then you combine it, you summarize it, you put it in a conclusion. This is just a picture. This is just pictures. This is a cow wrestling, a bull wrestling in KwaZulu-Natal. I think there is some of this in Spain, similar in Spain. This is in a mosque. I think it's a Muslim, it's a religious thing. And here also, if you look at here, this guy joining part of Xhosa, and this one is Isangoma. This one is Isangoma. Isangoma you learn. Or for instance, in Xhosa we call it Iqwele. Iqwele is more like you are not born to be Iqwele. Your background or your everything does not really affect your ability of becoming Iqwele or not. Iqwele is someone who knows medicine, someone who knows things, someone who study and know things, and then that person is called Iqwele. It's not because of the ancestors chose you specifically, but it's something that you can take interest in and then master it. Okay, so this guy here is Iqwele, despite his race or anything. Both of these guys, they are both Amakwele. So yeah, I hope I hope from these examples that I've made here, you have learned something, and I hope that these sessions will help you with your assignment. They are hopeful. There are things, if you can notice, that I've been trying to emphasize a lot in this assignment, is because I get the sense that I need to emphasize them. So this comes to an end of this session. I'll conclude, I'll leave it here. Then Adele will send me the numbers, or I mean the student emails of how to contact me or how to have these one-on-one sessions. So I think this is the end of today's session. Are there any questions for me?
There's the land showing.
Okay.
Alisa, you can go ahead. Alisa. You're on mute, Alisa.
Alisa.
I think are you talking to me?
Yes.
Pearl?
Yeah, there's a hand.
It's Pearl, not Palesa. That's why I was confused. Sorry. Yeah, so I would like a one-on-one session. And I think Tamela tried to explain most of the stuff, but I still want to see how I can incorporate into it, the especially the last part, the conclusion with the IKS.
Okay, that's great. Okay, you will give Adele, you will talk to Adele, and then I will have to prepare. I can't just talk. I have to make prepare for everything for you so that you can understand.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes, I think any of you can make use of the one-on-one sessions, because the challenge really starts now, where you need to be able to sit with your ideas and plot it and let it flow and make it accessible to your audience. So that is quite tricky. So let us see how it's going to work. But if you struggle, you're more than welcome to contact Adele or myself on ctnt@unisa.ac.za, and we will respond to you. But I will email you the Zoom session of Monday. I will send it to your MyLife email accounts.
Okay, thank you so much.
Is Adele still on the line?
Adele, it's Arlene, it's AB. I don't see Adele here.
I think she said she's gonna leave after she spoke.
Okay, so you contact Adele, then Adele will contact me, right? So everyone who wants to have a one-on-one sessions with me, contact Adele. Adele will contact me. Okay.
Okay, thanks Timbela, thanks Jacques, thanks Adele.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'll see you Monday.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.